work together in harmony and move our city forward where it needs to be. We ask this in the name of our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And we have an amendment, a couple of amendments to the agenda. The first one is moving Roman numeral 14, executive session, before Roman numeral number 6, and that is appointments. And this will be to discuss personnel matters as for the city manager. And the second change is to remove business item number 6, and that is being removed as the Gallinas Volunteer Fire Department is unable to accept these vehicles that are going to be transferred to them at this time.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda
So move, Mr. Mayor.
With the changes.
with the changes mentioned by the
Yes.
city clerk. Mr. Montoya,
Yes.
motion.
Second.
Second, Mr. Liberi. Roll call, please.
Councilor Romero,
Yes.
Councilor Montoya,
Yes.
Councilor Casey,
Yes.
Councilor Ulibarri Jr.
Yes.
I have a motion by Councilor Montoya, a second by Councilor Ulibarri Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda would be the approval of the agenda, or is that included in the motion with the changes?
That was
That
included
was
in the
included.
motion, yeah.
So the next item within would be
Executive session.
the executive session.
Could you give me 1 second? I have, please indulge me for just a second. It'll only be a minute. I've asked that the Animal Welfare Coalition bring a puppy for every meeting, or a dog, or a cat, or a parrot, or or whatever they have, to every meeting, and just to introduce the puppy and encourage people in the community to help the Animal Welfare Coalition. They always accept donations of food, cat food, dog food. They accept blankets, newspapers, they accept straw, anything like that. We just ask the community to be generous and make those contributions whenever they want. But I think Miss Tina has a puppy for me, and I'll be right back. Don't let me take it home.
I wasn't sure.
Who is this?
This is DJ Khaled.
Come on, DJ. Oh my God, look at him. Hi. Can you get on camera?
Where's camera?
Right up here.
Tell us about
So
DJ.
this is DJ Khaled, and he is about a 7-year-old healer mix. And even though he is a herding breed, he is at the point in his life where he just kind of wants to relax and take some time by you, some social distancing time with you, and lay on the couch, watch some movies, enjoy a fire. I think he's supposed to snow tomorrow. He's very sweet. He's a great dog. We've had him for a while, so he's ready for a home, and he is happy to be here.
Montoya, would you like to take your dog home?
Not today.
Not today. Well, thanks so much, Tina. I appreciate it.
Thank you for
Hold on
inviting us
there.
here. It really means a lot, and we're happy to be here with you.
Sure. And I think, oh,
He's leaning in.
He loves his new daddy.
And he do wear his tie. He wears his tie for to the meeting.
oh, wow. Good to see the mayor.
Oh, very good,
Yeah, to
yes.
meet their, formal. Thank you so much.
Thanks, my heart. Look at it. So call the Animal Welfare Coalition and help donate items and pick up this beautiful puppy.
Yes.
Thank you,
so much.
Tina. Appreciate
We
it.
appreciate it.
Hi, DJ.
Bye, Tina. Thanks.
Looks like a regular.
Yeah, regular, huh? All right, executive session.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor to go into executive session to discuss
Okay.
personnel matters? Or do you want to introduce the
Well,
pursuant to?
we have to do,
Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we go into executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters as permitted by Section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act and MSA 1978. To discuss the appointments that are to be made this evening and who are listed on the city agenda.
I second that motion.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Discussion, roll call?
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Uribarri?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Romero? I
Yes.
have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Romero. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now go into executive session. Thank you.
You didn't read your book.
I did. I had a glass of.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we convene into regular session after having been in executive session for the purpose of discussing personnel matters as permitted by Section 10-15-1H2 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, NMSA 1978, and that no action was taken, no votes were taken during executive session, and only personnel matters were discussed.
Hey, Ms. Casey, second by Mr. Romero. Roll call, please.
Counselor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Romero. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. We are back into regular session.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I move that we reconvene into executive session for the purpose of discussing matters subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the City of Las Vegas may become a participant as permitted by Section 10-15-1H7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act, NMSA 1978.
Second.
Thank you. There's a motion by Ms. Casey, second by Mr. Romero. Roll call, please.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Romero. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. We will now move into executive session. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we reconvene into regular session after having been in executive session for the purpose of discussing matters subject to the attorney-client privilege pertaining to threatened or pending litigation in which the City of Las Vegas may be a participant, as permitted by Section 10-15-1H7 of the New Mexico Open Meetings Act and MSA 1978. No action was taken, no votes were taken, and only that matter was discussed.
There's a motion on the floor. I'll entertain a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Ulibarri. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Ulibarri Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to enter back into a regular session.
I just did that. Oh, no, I didn't do that. No, sorry.
Or did we?
No, it was a motion to reconvene into regular session
Oh, okay.
after having been in executive session.
Okay. So we're in
We're okay.
we're in
ready
a
to go.
regular session. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next item on the agenda is mayor's appointments and reports. First item is approval, disapproval to confirm the reappointment of Cassandra Fresca, city clerk for the city of Las Vegas, and enter into a professional contract.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Romero?
I make a motion to approve the confirmation and the reappointment of Cassandra Fresca, city clerk for the city of Las Vegas, and enter into a professional contract.
Second.
Second. First by Mr. Romero, second by Barbara Casey. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Ulibarri Jr.?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Congratulations.
And thank you, Mayor and Council, for your continued support and confidence in me. I will continue to serve the governing body and our citizens to the best of my ability.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Cassandra. Appreciate all your work.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda is Mayor's recognitions and proclamations. Proclamation for Earth Day.
Yes. Cassandra, will you do us the privilege?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. Whereas Earth Day is an annual event that helps raise awareness about environmental issues while providing tips for protecting resources in our community, and whereas a sustainable environment can be achieved through educational efforts, public policy, meaningful employment, and community advocacy, and whereas any measure of a successful society, low mortality rates, economic growth, and diversity, productivity, and public safety are in some way related to our earth and a sustainable environment. And whereas we are all stewards of the earth and environment upon which future generations depend, and whereas through its combined efforts and beautification program, the City of Las Vegas is protecting our resources and improving the look of our community to enhance the quality of life for every resident and enable its business to grow and prosper. And whereas on April 22nd, 2020, the City of Las Vegas Utility Department Solid Waste Division will be leading an Earth Day litter cleanup in the community. And whereas each citizen of our city is called upon to help protect our community, environment, and planet from pollution, to practice disposing of waste properly, and to get involved in local beautification events. Now therefore, Louis A. Trujillo, Mayor of the City of Las Vegas, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim April 22nd, 2020 as Earth Day. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. The second proclamation I have is really in recognition of a public servant and somebody who served their community through thick and thin. It's to recognize Barbara Casey for your service, your work, your diligence, your continued devotion to our community while you served as council, and you serve all the time in different organizations and stuff, and you do so much for the community. And I felt it appropriate that as you leave your seat, that we have a proclamation of appreciation and recognition for the service that you have provided to our community. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything that you did as a counselor.
thank you. It's been my pleasure to serve as a city councilor for the last 4 years. And I wish I could have done more for the city at that time. And I'm very happy that I'm leaving it, my seat, in capable hands. And I'm happy, too, that I had the pleasure of serving with you and Councilor Montoya for 2 meetings. And these 2 guys, I'm going to miss them, too. They've been wonderful, and I'm going to miss the employees who are excellent, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Barbara.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
going back to the Earth Day, I
Mhm.
spoke to New Mexico DOT, and they are willing to donate to us for that, to clean up some gloves, trash bags, and masks, and T-shirts,
Wonderful.
so forth for that Saturday.
Thank you. I'll get a hold of you, and we're planning a meeting on Saturday, so.
And that was Mr. Richard Padilla and also Mr. Walter Adams for the
Thank
New
you.
Mexico DOT.
Thank you so much. Cassandra Frescas, would you please read the proclamation for Barbara Pereira
Certainly,
Casey?
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Whereas Barbara A. Perea Casey, native of Las Vegas, New Mexico, graduated in the top 5 of her class at West Las Vegas High School in 1969. She graduated from New Mexico Highlands University in 1972 with her Bachelor of Arts degree in Spanish with a minor in French and German. She also received her Master of Arts degree in Spanish and graduated with high honors in 1973. In 2007, she received her doctorate in educational leadership and organizational learning from the University of New Mexico. And whereas Barbara A. Perea Casey taught in 1972 through 1974 in the Modern Foreign Languages Department at New Mexico Highlands University, she also taught at the Roswell Independent School District in various departments. She later served on both East and West Las Vegas school boards. And whereas in 2009, Barbara A. Perea Casey received the American Association of University Women's Grace Barker Wilson Award for Distinguished Service, Breaking Barriers for Women. She was also appointed to Governor-elect Michelle Lujan Grisham's transition team for public education in 2018. And whereas she traveled extensively throughout the United States, Great Britain, Mexico, and El Salvador, she has been a guest speaker, panelist on education and health issues representing both New Mexico House of Representatives and the Education Commission of the states. She has been very involved in community organizing and community empowerment initiatives. And whereas in 2016, Barbara Perea Casey was elected to serve as Ward 3 City Councilor for a 4-year term, and now therefore be it resolved, I, Louis A. Trujillo, Mayor of the City of Las Vegas, along with members of the governing body, hereby recognize Barbara A. Perea Casey for her hard work and dedication to the City of Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I give you a hug for this.
I know. We'll save it for some other
It's a
time.
virtual hug.
We'll take a rain check on the hugs.
Thank you, Barbara. I appreciate everything that you've done. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda is public input, and we have no public input for this evening.
Okay.
Next item on the agenda is presentations. We have a presentation by Mr. Leo Maestas providing an update on the COVID-19 coronavirus.
Welcome, Mr. Come on in, have a seat.
Hello.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'll make this as brief as possible. We're all aware of we're dealing with coronavirus, COVID-19 at this time. It's been going on for over 2 months now. I was going to show you some stuff, but I guess we can't do that. So let me go over, I guess we can go over some testing. So Department of Health's webpage reflects only 174 tests, which is not correct. We're somewhere over 300 tests at this time. We're trying to figure out where the disconnect is in the amount of tests that are going on in the county, and per capita that ratio is actually pretty good, one of the highest in the county, I mean in the state. So tomorrow we have more testing going on at some of our homeless shelter, group homes, as well as our detention center. Again, everybody's probably aware that Alta Vista is doing testing for 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, with doctor's orders. Also, Department of Health, our local San Miguel County Department of Health, Public Health Office is doing testing on Mondays from 10 to 11, and Wednesdays from 9 to 11 on Mondays and 11 till 12 on Wednesdays. Next Tuesday, the 21st, we chose to push our drive-through testing site, which is the second of its kind here in San Miguel County, which is a coordination that we've done with New Mexico Department of Health. We chose to push it to the village of Pecos, being that we're kind of blanketed with testing here in Las Vegas. The public in Pecos tends to go to Santa Fe for their supplies. So they're put at high risk because there is community spread in Santa Fe County. So we choose to do that. We chose to do that in in Pecos again next Tuesday, starting at 10 o'clock. And then we'll reevaluate after that, see where we're going with the curve, and see if we need to bring back another drive-through testing to Las Vegas.
Where can people find this information?
So on the testing for next Tuesday, we sent that out to all our social media outlets, all our local newspaper, both of the city and county administrations. If they need to get in contact with myself, my work cell phone is 505-429-6805. Also, Department of Health has put different hotels across the state under contract to be able to house individuals that aren't at risk, but they do show symptoms and they're awaiting the results from a COVID test. Either they're positive, but they don't have any other underlying health conditions, and they need somewhere to self-quarantine that they can't be around their families. So here in Las Vegas, we've identified that Comfort Inn will be that establishment. At this time, nobody is in there. And at the time that somebody is going to be staying at that establishment, they won't be renting to anybody else. From there on, it'll be a COVID-19 hotel, basically. So, and they let our office know as soon as we are faced with something like that. And that's pretty much it at this time. Like I said, I had a few things to show, but I think we're, under the circumstances, we'll have to push it till next time.
I spoke to you briefly this morning regarding that one new case, and you were trying to get demographics. I don't know if you were able to. Sometimes it's hard. Where that person lives. You said they were tested out of the county, but being that they're a resident of the county, they may be living in another city,
Right.
but they're a resident of San Miguel County, and they count it as a case for our county.
So at first, it wasn't clear from the Department of Health. They weren't able to confirm that it was a second test. As we looked deeper into it, some of the personnel from Department of Health was able to find that individual on one of their spreadsheets, and told us that it wasn't somebody that was probably tested in the county, because we're aware of all the tests that we're getting from El Centro, from the hospital, and our drive-through testing sites, and nobody has come back positive from any of those. So they said that it's most likely somebody that's been tested outside of the county, but their primary residence is inside the county. That doesn't tell us if they're now in their home quarantined, or if they're in a hospital outside of the county. So that's, we're still trying to acquire more information from the Department of Health.
Okay, thank you for that.
So, is there any other questions I can answer from
Do
anybody?
you have the condition of the first person that was
I don't.
tested?
Again, they tell us per HIPAA standards that they can't allow us to. I've asked if they've been retested and if they've come back negative. I can't get any of that information now. The Association of Emergency Managers here in the state of New Mexico has been trying to coordinate with the state to get information. Other states their governors have implemented websites to allow first responders, medical providers, and emergency management to have locations for positive COVID so that we're allowing our first responders to be aware of where they're at before they get into those environments. But at this time, not here in New Mexico.
Mr. Romero?
I just had one question. That second case, was it by contact, or is that, I'm not sure yet.
On the website, and they can't even tell me as well, there's no demographics. The website that shows the second positive, if you click on San Miguel County, to the right, it should give the demographics of that person. It only reflects the first one, which is a male in their 70s. So they haven't populated that yet, so.
And the other thing, Leo, thank you for, I know I've been in contact with you a couple of times, and thank you for your leadership and what you've done.
Sure.
And you've cleared up a lot of sometimes rumors that were going through running through the community as to who has and who doesn't have. And
Yes, sir.
and,
Yeah, we
you know,
deal with
that's-
that
and then that's
on an hourly
that's hard to
basis,
deal
it
with.
seems
Is,
like.
it's not hearsay. I think we need to depend. You're getting all that information, and whatever comes out from your office is what we all should depend on as a community, and not the hearsay that we hear out in the community. The other question that I had, and I don't know if this has been, I'm sure it's been discussed, I know, you have answers to this, is our nurses and doctors, and of course, we haven't been hit yet, but I know other communities are talking to where they're housing nurses and them in, a certain location also, just so they don't take that possibility, of contracting that, the virus, taking it home.
Right.
Or has that been in discussion?
So there's actually a second hotel in town that is under contract, not under contract, yes, but they're in conversation with Department of Health to be that second establishment for healthcare providers, first responders that could have been exposed to COVID patients.
Okay, thank you.
They
I
haven't
figured you
executed
could-
that contract yet, but as it comes out, we'll let whoever needs to know about that know about it.
Mr. Maestas,
Yes, sir.
thank you for coming and giving us an update. How long are the test results being taken now, before you know results on?
So what they're looking at now is close to 3 days,
3
what it's
days.
taking. Obviously, there's a lot more tests that are being given now than there were in the beginning. The state has ramped up how fast they can analyze tests, but they're looking at about 3 days.
And I guess both our labs here in New Mexico are testing also now, no?
So,
Albuquerque and Los Alamos.
so there's the state laboratory, and then Tricor and LabCorp have their own testing facilities that they do analyzation of tests.
And what is your message to the community? Because we were just talking about it, and people don't seem to take this very serious, and they're still traveling back to Rio Rancho and back and forth to Santa Fe. What's your message to them today?
Well, I think the message that we need to give to the community is, and we can't possibly stop people from traveling. So what we need to get them to understand is they need to police themselves, be aware of where they've been and what they're touching when they go to outside of San Miguel County, and even inside the county and in the city limits. They need to be aware of what they're doing, what they're touching, limit it to the bare minimum of what they can do. I know there's a lot of people out there that don't think this is something serious. On a little bit of a serious note, or a little bit of a personal note, before my daughter got sick, it was something that happened to other families. It wasn't something that happened to us. Now that COVID hasn't touched these families, it's not real to them. Until it hits their family, that's when it becomes real. So that's all we can really hope for, is that they can police themselves and be adult and know where they're exposing themselves to.
And I was going to ask you, with all your knowledge and your experience and everything you've gone through, where are we here in New Mexico as far as the peaking area? Are we almost there at the peak area?
I really couldn't answer that. I know that our curve is still going up. As you see the numbers, every day we get 80, 90 come back, but that could be because we have more testing available. But I couldn't even possibly begin to tell you if we're at the top of the peak or if we're coming down from that. It's just time will tell.
Well, I know you've been working exhausting hours, and we thank you
No
on
problem.
behalf of our citizens for being there for us. Thank you.
It is a whole community effort to do it. It's not just on my shoulders. A lot of our first responders are the ones that are putting themselves in harm's way when they get called to these homes, and they don't know if there's a positive case in these houses. So it does take all of us to get through something like this. So.
And I appreciate the notice that you sent out last week regarding travel to other counties. It's not necessary, unless it's absolutely dire. suspend your visits with family and friends till after all this is over. And I get scared because I look at Sandoval County every day and there's tons, it's just blowing up there. And there's so many people with relatives in Rio Rancho that live here.
Right.
And so I just want to discourage those visits that travel to other counties, other areas. You're just being susceptible and you're just, being careless at this point unless it's absolutely necessary. I just urge the public not to travel at this time, to stay home and heed the word of the governor. And you see her on TV, and these press conferences are so impressive, and they're actually getting a little scary now because the numbers continue to rise.
Right.
So whether they're rising at the projected rate or they're slower, they're still increasing.
Yes.
So we are not out of the woods. Just we don't know, and I too want to just recognize you and the partnership, and just maybe spend a couple of minutes on how your position works and who you work for. And it's a partnership between the county and the city.
Yes.
Just so you'll know, the public will know that Leo works both for the city of Las Vegas and the county of San Miguel. The county being the region, of course, city of Las Vegas, and the position is funded by the city and by the county, both. And I just want to tip my hat to you and just say I think you're doing a great job, and I appreciate all the public information and people calling you and me bothering you and texting you and asking you questions, and you're always so responsive, and you're very appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr. Oliva.
Me too, Mr. Leo, thank you for all the hard work you guys are doing. A question, how about rest homes? Are they doing any testing there?
Which homes are these?
And rest homes like Alta, Via Encantada and all that?
So tomorrow they're going to be doing testing, and they don't have enough tests to be able to test the whole community,
Right.
either the sheltered community, the group homes, the detention center, or our long-term care facilities. So they take a percentage of them and they test from the workers and some of the residents from each of those facilities to see if there's any kind of spread.
Well, anyway, I want to thank you and all the people that are working with you, and Senator Campos, the governor, and everybody that's working with you. Thanks for everything you're doing for our city and our county, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
I just want to add in, thank you, Leo, but I just thank you for your leadership. And I know, we passed that resolution this past week, giving you the authority to deem, whatever measures you have to in order to protect our citizens. And you did that, and I thank you for that, because, we do need to take it serious. And I thank you for your leadership, for taking that effort. Yes, we might have been criticized, but just know I just want to make this comment to the community, is that we're just trying to save lives.
Right.
We just want to keep everybody safe. We don't want anybody to contract this and then spread it amongst, and it's going to spread like wildfire once it does. And so thank you for your leadership in that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Maestas.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda is the city manager's report. Mr. City Manager?
Okay, so,
Is he mic'd? Or should?
You-
so this is a report about my first 3 days on the job, and I think that we have some good news. First is that, I heard you all, and recently, I hope I'm getting the message, and I hope that this report indicates that, what we're trying to do to follow your lead, and your leadership. So the first thing is that I've been working with the city clerk, and we've been talking about responsiveness to the city, and I think you all made clear to me that that was a major issue. So she and I worked on a statement that we'll put at the bottom of every email that goes out that says that the city is committed to responsiveness and that we will respond to all emails and phone calls within 24 hours. And I thought I put it on my email, and I think Cassandra is sending that message out to all the employees that they do that. And so that's first thing. Next is that we've heard that there's things that just haven't gotten done for a long time that are important and really things that we could do with our existing resources fairly quickly. So I spoke to the Public Works, one of the two Public Works directors. We have two people acting in interim capacity there. And so I spoke with Danny Goudelet today, and I told him that I wanted them to start immediately on the striping of the streets, crosswalks, parking, etc. And he said they will get on it immediately. So I expect that you're going to go out and you're going to start to see the streets being, the crosswalks painted and all those things happening.
Do we have a street sweeper in order?
I will talk about that in just
Okay.
a second because that's a good question.
Thank
If
you.
I forget, bring it back up.
Go ahead.
So the other thing is that I told him, well, where are we with us? You go in a lot of communities and there's no a lot of parts of town and there's no sign saying what the streets are. The stop signs are often faded or covered with graffiti. And I said I wanted those to all be reviewed. And he said that we actually have a number of street signs. They've been ordered. He said, but we haven't put them up. And I said, well, you have a direction now from me and from the council and the mayor to do that immediately. So he said that they would start doing that right away as well. So same thing with potholes. He said they're being filled and they're going around doing it. They're trying to do their best. I said that I asked him who's making sure that these are done and done in the right way. And so he said that he and I and whoever else will get together and start to develop a process to make sure that we hold people accountable for doing potholes in the best way. So the next thing is the street sweeper. And so this is actually something that's really important. The streets are obviously dirty, and they haven't been swept for a long time. And I was wondering why, because this is a perfect time to clean the streets because there's
They're empty.
they're empty. And so there's no problem with parked cars. And so I learned that both street sweepers are down. We have two of them. One has been totaled. The other is in the repair shop in Albuquerque, and it should become available hopefully in the next week or so, and we can get on that right away. There was some discussion with the previous city manager about going out and renting another street sweeper. And so I talked to him about it, I talked to her about it, and it's $8,500 a month, plus the cost of transporting it all the way from Texas. And so I told him today I didn't want to do that. $8,500, they're looking at getting another street sweeper, purchasing another one, and the payment on that will be about $3,000 a month. So paying $8,500 a month I don't think makes good economic sense. Like I said, but you've got people. So guys that, the people that we have, can we get them out even if with square nose shovels and other things cleaning up the streets? And he agreed that we could do that. So hopefully we get that going. And one of the things that I hope that we can get to the message to everybody is, if you look at the streets, sometimes they're clean because the residents and the businesses take care of it. So in front of my shop, my building, I'll go out on Saturday and I'll take this broom and clean the gutter. I think we need to encourage all of our businesses to do that. And then in places where there aren't, where we got vacant buildings and stuff, that I told them, just you look at my gutters and they're clean from Grand to up to the alley. And then after that, you've got vacant building, and so it's this deep in dirt, and so we need to get that cleaned up. And so I asked that they look at the places that are where this is most problematic, and that we try to get on it as fast as we can. And the new street sweepers will actually help a lot with that, but we need to do what we can right now. So I know that there was concern about the reader board. We spent a lot of money, lodger's tax money, on getting a reader board, and there was nothing up there other than, I think, welcome to Las Vegas or something like that. So I did talk to Chuck today. He is the person responsible for that, and he said, I told him that I wanted at least 2 things put on there if he could get it up today. One was this meeting, and the other is a warning or something about the curfew and and COVID-19. So he said that he will do that. It probably won't happen until tomorrow morning, but it's going to happen. So, and then got some capital projects updates, and so the first is that I know that people were very concerned about the Riverwalk design project and how long that took. That contract has been awarded, and we're now waiting. The only thing we're waiting for is DFA notice of obligation, and Robert Archuleta told me that he's working with them. He's on the phone with them. They said that they're going to get it done as quickly as they can, but it's a little bit slower process because people are all working online, and you can't just take a piece of paper from this place to the next place to get signed, but it's going to happen very soon.
Did he ask, I'm sorry, maybe I should wait till the presentation is over, but did he say why it's taken so long? It's been encumbered since...
Yeah, well, he told me that he just couldn't, he was very concerned about it. He's very concerned about all of these capital projects for the reasons everybody's concerned about them. And with the financial situation in the state could sweep this
Sure.
capital money, and he said that just couldn't get the higher levels of the city to move forward on it.
Okay, thanks.
Let's see, the fire truck has been ordered, it's been built, and we expect delivery within the next 3 to 4 months. And the fully equipped police evidence vehicle has been delivered, and we are waiting, and it's here, I think it's being used, we're just waiting for reimbursement from DFA. So we funded the money, and then they'll reimburse us for the cost of that. The Little League Parks, Robert's working again with DFA on allowable expenses because there are a lot of things that are not allowable that they'd like to see money spent on, and so we might have to come back and ask for some of those things. But DFA, and this was true when I was at the LFC, that capital money should not be spent on projects that don't have a expected life of at least 10 years. And so he's got a plan that he's working on, and that should happen. There's the money's going to be split evenly between the two little league organizations. The El Crestón Park, he said the purchase order is being prepared, and they're working to get the notice of obligation from DFA, and that we hope that design work on that park will start in 3 weeks. So that's going to be pretty good, and there's $108,000 there. And I think we had questions last time about the comprehensive master plan, and so it's moving forward. We have received 1,100 surveys, and most of those were in response to the city's initiative to put those surveys in people's utility bills, and so the data is being analyzed formally. But he said that they've already looked at it, and the things that people are expressing concerns about or support for, the kinds of things that we might all expect, so economic developments, cleanliness, the parks, infrastructure, our roads, water infrastructure, all of those kinds of things. And so, but we'll be moving forward with that very quickly. And so that's kind of my 3-day report.
Wow, you've done a lot in 3 days. I just have one comment, and then I'll recognize the council people. Do me a favor and update us on those capital projects each meeting
Okay.
until they are completed.
Okay.
Okay.
That'd be good. And then I think that puts everybody on notice. We need to move forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Casey?
I just wanted to ask, were you told what happened to the street sweeper? Because one of them is brand new.
So I was told that one of the streets, one of them was hurt. Was somebody ran into it apparently, and it was. And I think that what Robert told me is that it's been totaled, but then the insurance company's going to pay for the. I think that's the one that's in the repair shop. The other, maybe the one that was actually hit, but And, but it was, you know, kind of weird that we'd have both of them go down at the same time. And so we don't have a backup, and I just didn't think an $8,500 rental per month was cost
The
effective.
new one was supposed to, it was wonderful because it would suck up water, it would suck up all the dirt.
Yeah, and I guess that's what we're getting, that's what we want to purchase now, because I don't think that the one that was getting repaired can do that, so
And
Robert told me.
The new one could.
Yeah, so that's what we'll be looking to replace.
Mr. Mayor,
Excuse me.
on that new sweeper, I did talk to our previous city manager in terms of, said that on the new sweeper, the brushes, that they were picking up the amount of stuff that's been on the thing, so I had to send it back to change the brushes to see if they could get it going the right way. You know, they look at that, the brushes were too small, or they weren't big enough to pick up the stuff, so that's the reason they have it out there, you know, because I did ask her about the streets, you know, that they were real bad out there, so.
So that's the reason we had recycled dirt instead of picked up.
Well,
dirt.
it might be that our streets were too dirty
Yeah.
for that vehicle to work properly.
That could be true, yeah.
Mr. Merrill? Oh, are you done, Mr.
Yes, sir,
Uribe?
thank you.
Mr. Merrill?
No, I was just going to comment on this, on the street sweeper, but you answered that question. The other question I had, you addressed it, was the Creston Park. That falls within my ward, so if we could keep me updated on that one. And then just, I don't know, I mean, of course, we don't have a street sweeper now, but kind of a suggestion, and I don't know, it's up to you, but I was just thinking as far as like potholes and you know, street sweeping, now that we have the curfew and nobody's, you know, at that time, you know, maybe come in at 3 and fill pothole. I know, you know, staff, you know, at that time, there's nobody supposed to be in the streets basically, and I know during the day there's not as much traffic now, but during those times, the curfew times, maybe that would be an idea, is to fill where there's, you know, no traffic at all, and to do some of that stuff.
Absolutely. Mr. Montoya?
Discuss it.
Thank you. Mr.
Mr.
Montoya?
City Manager, I got a whole list over here, but I'll meet with you on Tuesday.
Okay, thank you.
But, no, you mentioned a new fire truck, we just got one.
Yeah, that's the, well,
We just got one 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago.
so,
Stationed at Harold Duke's Fire Station. Are we getting another one?
this is what Robert told me, was that we have one that's been ordered, it's being built, and we expected delivery within 4 months. It's $657,000 fire truck.
No, no. that's
Mr.
all.
Romero?
Okay, so what happened on that, Mr. Montoya, is one of them was, we purchased ourselves, and then the other one, the second one was a legislative request. So we got, yeah, appropriation, so we did get two of them.
This last year?
Mhm.
Well, the year, not this past year, but the year before.
I didn't see it on there this year. Okay.
So that raises a question do we now have more trucks than we need, or do we have, can we sell only the ones that, or
If I
do we keep
remember
it as a
correctly, it
backup?
was because they were outdated. I mean, the
Yeah.
year
They were both
and
in-
how long they've been in operation.
Yeah.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, and thank you for all the work you're doing. You're getting off to a good start.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Ms. Vasquez?
Mayor, the next item on the agenda is the finance report, and we have Deputy Finance Dominic. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council.
Good evening.
I have, actually I have February and March to present, if that's okay. I can get through them fairly quickly and then take any questions thereafter, if that's okay with you.
Yes.
Okay. So as of February 29th of 2020, it's 67% of the year lapsed, 8 months out of the 12. Our general fund revenues were at $8,282,293, opposed to our expenditures of $7,606,948, which left us a surplus of $675,345. For our enterprise funds, which is the wastewater, natural gas, solid waste, and water departments, wastewater was at $1,808,704 in revenue. $2,954,999 for natural gas, $2,317,511 for solid waste, and $3,388,989 for water, totaling $10,550,204 billed. On the expenditure side, wastewater had $2 million, and $70,860 for this period. That one was a little bit lengthy.
Ms. Casey?
Thank you. Thank you, Dominic,
Yes,
for
ma'am.
sending me the answers to my questions
Oh,
from
absolutely.
the February check report. And I still have some concerns about the money that we're paying to Souter Miller. Because for this month, we have $85,720,000 that were paid out. And that's a lot of money. And they're supposed to be getting paid, according to the contract, $300,000 a year. And every month, the money is over, almost close to $100,000. And so I don't understand why that's happening. They're supposed to charge only for hours worked. And supposedly, they're on a rotation basis, but that's still extremely high.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that maybe we can encourage our own employees to become certified in those areas so that we don't have to pay a contractor that charges so much. And perhaps the finance department and the city manager can take a look at that contract along with legal to see how it might be reworked or something, because we're spending an awful lot of money for that one company, and we're probably keeping it in business ourselves, so.
Ms. Casey, just real quick, I'll like to give a directive to the city manager and the finance director to review that contract immediately, along with all the other contracts that we're paying out on. To analyze them, budget, making sure we're getting what we are paying for. Some of these contract amounts are exorbitant and we're just spending way too much money on them. But this one in particular bothers me a lot, and we need to make sure that we move to certifying our employees to be able to do that rapidly. And so we need to put that on the fast track. So whatever we're doing and whatever we're not doing, we need to do it faster and more efficient to get those employees trained. Mr. O'Meara?
I just want to thank you, Mayor, for that directive, because I know, and ask Councilor Casey, did you ever get the totals? So we had, because I know we asked for it in the meeting. Did you ever get those totals or no? Because I didn't.
For Souter Miller?
Yeah.
No,
Okay,
we requested it of the
So I was just wondering.
previous
Yeah, 'cause I think we need to be more
Messenger,
transparent
but-
as to, what the spending's going on, with Souter Millers. Like Councilor Casey said, was supposed to be 300,000, the contract, and we've noticed it, be, an enormous amount, and we've asked the questions and wanted that information, and we never received it, so thank you for that directive to the city
Sure,
manager.
and I'd also like to give a directive that the finance director and the finance office and the city manager release documents when people ask for them, particularly council. They should make every effort to get those documents expeditiously. Thank you.
I'll get those totals for Sutter Miller. I can provide that to you guys tomorrow morning, if that's okay.
That's fine. Thank you so much, Dominic.
Via email is fine, or?
Send mine to my personal email, because I've never used the,
Actually, I don't have any of y'all's emails, so I can provide it to Joanne, maybe she
oh,
can.
yeah, Joanne
Will that
has
work?
it, she knows.
Okay.
Mhm.
And the website.
Okay, I can do that as well, if you understand correctly.
Any questions on the February report? I'll entertain. I'll
Mr. Mayor,
allow 5 minutes for discussion.
on this check report, I have so many questions that I'll just meet with the manager on Tuesday at that meeting that I scheduled with him. But I have issues with contracts that have been there for a long time. For instance, for gas, for the senior citizens in Pecos, those contracts need to be reviewed. Also, the contracts for diesel maintenance that's going on.
Yes.
It's huge, like $300,000 a year. We have contracts, we have I have a bunch of things that I have highlighted, and there are too many to number. But all these things need to be checked off and looked at and see what we can do with it. The last question I have for you on this budget is, Mr. Mayor and Mr. Manager, and on these legal issues, on the payments that were made by the prior administration, who's going to be in charge of overseeing those, or who's going to approve it? Or are we going to wait for our court order to pay them, or how is that going to work?
Mr. Montoya, just let me, I've given a directive to the city manager and the finance director to review all those contracts. They need to do that immediately, and they need to make a decision on how they're going to be paid, or if they're going to be paid, or, so they will review all those contracts immediately.
Okay.
Thank you.
No further questions? on my
Thank you,
part?
Mr. Montoya. Thank you, everybody. Moving on to your March.
To March, yes, sir. March 31st, 2020, 75% of the year. General fund came in revenues at $9,127,672. The total expenditures of $8,395,645 for a surplus of $732,027. Our enterprise fund, wastewater, had revenue or total billed of $2,121,271. Natural gas, $3,661,346. Solid waste, $2,601,284. And water department at $3,744,287 for a total bill of $128,188. Our expenditures by department, wastewater at $2,592,599. Natural gas, $3,545,797. Solid waste, $2,430,313. And the water department at $3,933,502 for a total expenditures of $12,502,211. Which left us a deficit of $374,023. Our recreation department, total revenues at $425,019, including transfers of $299,880, with expenditures of $469,603, which left us a deficit of $44,584. And at the end of March, we had a cash balance at the rec center of $74,768.46. Our largest tax for March 31st, our revenues came in at $327,704, with our expenditures coming in at $259,179 for a surplus of $68,525. I've also just ran the cash balance as of March 31st, which was $273,995.57, and with revenues still to be collected, budget versus actual, $49,296, less the expenditures of what we had not paid out, budget versus actual, of $296,304 would leave us an estimated cash balance at this point of $26,987.57. And I've also attached the check report for this month as well, if you'll have any questions on that one.
Dominic, I will always ask the person giving the finance report at every meeting, is there anything you need to alert the governing body about this budget? Is there anything that's falling out, anything that's a red flag, anything that you see that we need to know about immediately?
At the moment, no, sir, short of our expenditures that are coming out for the COVID. We are having to, prices have gone up. We can't get things. We've had to make decisions, and I mean, for instance, just yesterday, we had hand sanitizer, for instance. We can't get the 8-ounce bottles that we were getting, and when we were getting them, they were at a price of $3.04. Now all we can get is a 12-ounce bottle, and they're at a cost of $13 and change. And so we're having to make those type of decisions. We are keeping all of these expenditures in the file so that in the future, whenever FEMA or whatever we got to do to get reimbursed through FEMA, we can do so. We'll have it all collected in one area. But those are, I mean, that's basically at the moment what.
Dominic, can I ask you to meet with Joe Maestas, Jose Maestas, and see if he needs to file any expenditure reports to make sure that the city is included in those, because he's making requests all the time. Also, if you need any kind of emergency supplies and you're not able to get them, he is also a good resource, because he can put it out that they need PPE or we need hand sanitizers, so he's an excellent resource for something like this. But he will be collecting both from the city and the county the additional expenses incurred because of COVID-19. I just don't want to miss out on any of that, and we need to make sure that we submit our expenditures for coverage.
Yes, sir. Yeah, will do.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes, Mayor and Council, I think that we need to be wary of the physical implications of COVID-19. And they're not showing up, this report is not going to show those yet, because the closures of businesses and everything didn't happen until after this. And so we know that there's going to be a hit on gross receipts tax. We know that there might be, this last payment of property taxes was due. Some people may not have been able to pay their property taxes, so a compliance rate on property tax revenues is probably going to be down. I asked Maria over at Public Utilities what does it look like in terms of revenues from people paying their utility bills, and she wrote to me today and said we're down about 15% for the last month. And so that's that's not something that's going to be forgiven, and we may get the money back because this money is still owed. But we need to be aware that we're going to be facing possibly some financial difficulties now. It's quite possible that the federal government will help out local governments, but we don't know that.
Mr. Taylor, the other consideration that I have is that we inform the public that, yeah, we're not turning utilities off at this time, but the money is still owed. It is not forgiven, and we need to include that information maybe with the next utility bills, that even though we are not cutting services off, that money is still owed. It's not forgiven. during this time. So I think the public was little under the impression that it was okay, or, and I don't want that to be, I want that message to be relayed to the public loud and clear. Thank you. Anything else, Dominic?
No, sir.
Alrighty. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Vasquez? Thank you, Dominic.
You're welcome.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda is business items. Item number 1, approval, disapproval of professional contract for city manager William Taylor. Mr. Mayor?
I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract
Mr.
as
Mayor,
written. Yes.
I move that we approve the contract, the professional contract for city manager William Taylor.
Thank you. Second,
Second?
Mr. Romero, discussion?
I just have if we're agreeing to the 2-year, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's all I have.
Ms. Vasquez, roll call, please.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Uliwadi Jr.?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Uliwadi Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda, approval, disapproval of the professional contract for city attorney Scott Aaron. Mr. Mayor?
I'll entertain a motion for approval of the contract.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Romero?
make a motion for approval of the professional contract for city attorney Scott Aaron.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Casey. Roll call, please.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Uliwadi Jr.?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez.
Next item on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, is approval, disapproval to appoint Mary Romero as finance director.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Romero?
I make a motion to approve the appointment of Ms. Mary Romero as finance director, and also note for the record that there's no relation, just in case.
There's a motion. I'll entertain a second.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Second by Ms. Casey. Ms. Vasquez?
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Uliwadi Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez.
Next item on the agenda, approval, disapproval to appoint William Hendrickson as community development director.
I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve Bill Hendrickson, sorry, I'm getting tired here, it's like, duh, as our new community development director.
I have a motion on the floor. I'll entertain a second.
Second?
Second by Mr. Uliwari. Ms. Vasquez?
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Uliwadi Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Uliwadi Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Vasquez.
Next item on the agenda, Mr. Mayor, is the approval, disapproval of resolution number 20-10, and we have Mr. Dominic Chavez as Deputy Finance Director.
Mr. Chavez? Welcome.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I'm here to request approval or disapproval of the City of Las Vegas, excuse me. Finance Department is requesting approval, disapproval for the increase in the 2020 budgeted revenues and expenditures within various funds for the FY20 budget. Within that, City of Las Vegas is in need of making a budget adjustment for the 2019-20 fiscal year budget to include a net increase of $90,000 in revenues and expenditures for communication equipment needed by the City of Las Vegas Fire Department to be funded by 100% grant from the New Mexico Fire Protection Fund in Fund 203, the state fire grant on the City of Las Vegas side. Net increase of $25,738 in revenue and expenditures to be funded by a grant from the New Mexico Department of Health for Emergency Medical Services. City of Las Vegas Fire Department would receive $12,763 of that, and Superior Ambulance of Las Vegas will receive $12,975, my apologies, in Fund 206 Emergency Medical Service. Also a net increase of $6,000 in revenues and expenditures for hazardous materials response to the WIP transportation event to be funded by New Mexico Energy Minerals and Natural Resources Department in Fund 260, our waste isolation pilot project, as well as a net increase in revenues for New Mexico Finance Authority debt service of $11,193.36 in Fund 645.
Thank you, Mr. Chavez. Any questions, discussions? Motion?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Resolution 20-10.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Romero, second by Ms. Casey. Ms. Fresquez?
Counselor Lee Jr.,
Yes.
Counselor Casey,
Yes.
Counselor Montoya,
Yes.
Counselor Romero.
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Romero, a second by Counselor Casey. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Fresquez. Thank you, Mr. Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, members of council.
Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, the next item on the agenda is Counselor's reports.
Due to the curfew, I am allowing 3 minutes per presentation. We need to get home by 9. Thank you. Who wants to go first?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just, yeah, pretty much I think we've addressed it within the city manager's report, but I do want to make one comment is thank you for putting the team that you have put together to move our community forward. I think it says a lot. You bring a lot of, especially in these times, financial times that we're going to be going through, and I think you've got the expertise to move us in the right direction.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
The other comment I want to make is to Councilor Casey. It's been a pleasure working with you. I know we've had some bad times. Most of the time we agreed a lot, but we went through a hard time, moving the city forward, and I wish we could have done a lot more for this community. And you've been a mentor for me as, even as I was a school board member. You're very involved in education. You're a mentor to me in that aspect, and then coming on board as city council, you've been here also. So thank you for all you've done, not only for me, but for my community and also for my family. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Mr.
Anybody
Mayor.
else? Mr. Luari?
I just want to commend you, Mr. Mayor, for putting this council together. We still need one more councilman to come in. I want to thank Council Casey. We had ups and downs, but we leave the past on the past. We want to move this city forward. I'm here to do it, and I'm here to work with council. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Luari. Mr. Montoya?
I'd just like to congratulate Councilman Joseph Baca, will be coming in first of next month. I want to thank you for all your service. And Madam Casey, I'm sure there will be constituents that miss you, and we're not going to have a female in the council anymore to keep us in check. So,
Life is rough.
but good luck to you in your endeavors. Mr. Mayor, I did speak to the chairman of the New Mexico DOT this morning, and he advised me that they're going to be redoing Grand Avenue, resurfacing that road, and that's going to be from South Grand to North Grand on Mills. And they're also going to be including a project on New Mexico 329. That's New Mexico Avenue, from over at Univarisa businesses on Grand, all the way through to Allsops. And then we're not going to stop there. They have another project on New Mexico 65, and that's from the Allsops on Mills all the way to Montezuma. So all those roads are going to be resurfaced, and hopefully by the end of the June. The other thing is that I don't know if you have all seen the new welcoming. It doesn't say welcome, but it says City of Las Vegas on the south end of town. That was part of the project of the New Mexico DOT, now that they redid Grand Avenue. Well, there's already plans for the one on the north end of town. And it's going to be there on Legion Drive and Grand Avenue. They've already placed a pad there on the corner, right off as you get off the off-ramp going up towards the hospital. That's going to be another entrance welcoming to the city of Las Vegas, and funded by the New Mexico DOT. The governor has instructed all agencies that they need to work with our rural areas and with our smaller communities. So they're more than willing to do any kind of contracts or work together with us, the city. They swept us Grand Avenue this last week, and they'll be doing other activities. But that place here already has the electricity to it, and they're putting out for bid at this time. They're putting out for bid how who's going to be doing the welcoming on this side of southern end. And they also, I asked them to put millions over here across City Hall for we give out food twice a month to the citizens of Las Vegas that are qualified. And Councilman Romero has helped out with this project. But there was a bunch of potholes on the state right-of-way, and there was a bunch of mud and stuff like that. And from one day to the next, they came out here and they put millings on there all the way around. The back part, of course, belongs to Highlands University, and we've got permission to use that for our commodities drive-by throughs. But I just wanted to let you know, Mr. Mayor, that they are willing to participate with us, and they are also getting a sweeper ordered for District 4. They won't have to be borrowing from Santa Fe. They'll have their own. Normally, they use the ones that are open cabs or the ones that have for chip sealing purposes. Well, they're ordering one that's watered and so there's no dust.
Do they have a public information officer that you could invite to these meetings to inform us on these projects?
Yes, they do.
Maybe we can invite them sometime.
Yeah, and I'll tell you that the district engineer is willing to help all entities within the city of Las Vegas. And those are really directions from one of our own, Walter Adams. He's the chairman of that, the governor put him there, and he's doing a good job for us. Those are big projects, and there are a lot of money coming into this town. So hopefully down the road, I know Legion Drive got thrown out of the picture at the legislature this year, but hopefully maybe next year we can throw it in there as a municipal project, and because that one's in dire need also. But just to give you an update on that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, appreciate it. Mr. Romero?
I just wanted to, real quick, thank the engineer, Mr. James Gallegos, because I gave him a call, and the message boards that he put around town were thanks to him, so he is really working good with us. So, Mr. City Manager, if you can continue that relationship, he's awesome.
Ms. Casey?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to say thank you to everyone. I've enjoyed working with everybody here. We have a lot of wonderful employees, and you brought in some wonderful to add to that group of employees. So I'm very pleased about that, and I know that we're going to be moving forward quickly and steadily, and I think that's a great thing for Las Vegas. And I'm very happy that I was able to serve with you for the last 2 meetings of my career here. And I'm sorry I lost, but I'm very confident that you are going to do a wonderful job for the city.
Thank you,
And I'm
Barbara.
confident that the new council will work well together and get things done. And again, thank you to the constituents of Ward 3 and the other people in Las Vegas. I have, Ward 3 had a lot of really active constituents that kept me very busy at all times. And I appreciated that because I got to know them and admire them for the love that they have for our community. And I appreciate that the most. Thank you so much.
Please open your hands. Ms. Preskis?
Mr. Mayor, next item on the agenda is adjournment.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adjourn.
A second.
Motion by Ms. Casey, second by Mr. Ulibarri. Ms. Preskis?
Counselor Montoya?
Yes.
Counselor Romero?
Yes.
Counselor Casey?
Yes.
Counselor Olivari Jr.?
Yes.
I have a motion by Counselor Casey, a second by Counselor Olivari Jr. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Motion carries.
Thank you, Ms. Preskis. Thank you for all your work.